Social Security checks June 2026. New payment dates just dropped +3. Huge changes Americans can't ignore. Stop scrolling. Seriously. If you're receiving Social Security, or if someone in your family depends on those monthly checks, you need to hear this right now. Because June 2026 just brought some updated payment dates, and there are 3 massive changes happening inside the Social Security system that most people haven't fully wrapped their heads around yet. And I'm not talking about minor stuff. I'm talking about changes that could mean hundreds, even thousands of extra dollars landing in your bank account. Or just as importantly, changes that could catch you completely off guard if you're not paying attention. So stay with me for a few minutes. I'll explain all of this in plain English, step by step, and by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly when your money is coming, what's different this year, and what you need to do to make sure you don't miss a single dollar that's owed to you. Let's start with the payment dates for June 2026, because I know that's the first thing you want to know. And here's what a lot of people don't realize. Social Security doesn't send everyone their check on the same day. It never has. The SSA, which is the Social Security Administration, uses a system based on your birthday to decide when you get paid. So let me break this down very simply. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your June 2026 payment is coming on Wednesday, June 10th. That's the second Wednesday of the month. If you were born between the 11th and the 20th of any month, your payment is coming on Wednesday, June 17th. That's the third Wednesday. And if you were born between the 21st and the 31st, your payment lands on Wednesday, June 24th. That's the fourth Wednesday of June. Now stay with me here, because there are exceptions. And this is where a lot of people get confused. If you started receiving Social Security benefits before May of 1997, and if you're watching this and you've been getting these payments for a very long time, this likely applies to you. You're not on the Wednesday schedule at all. Your June payment already came out on June 3rd, the first Wednesday of the month. That's always been the rule for longtime beneficiaries, and it hasn't changed. And then there's SSY, Supplemental Security Income. That's a separate program from regular Social Security, and it runs on a completely different calendar. SSI payments are typically sent on the 1st of each month. For June 2026, that SSI payment went out on June 1st, right on schedule. No drama there for June. But I want you to keep listening because later I'm going to tell you about the months where the SSI schedule gets a little wild. And if you're not paying attention, it can feel like your money disappeared. So just to make it crystal clear, for regular Social Security in June 2026, the 3 dates are June 10th, June 17th, and June 24th, depending on your birthday. Mark those on your calendar. Tell a family member, because knowing exactly when that payment is coming is one of the most important things you can do for your own budgeting and peace of mind. Now, let's take a step back, because knowing the payment dates is just the beginning. What's really big news in 2026 is what's been happening to the amount on those checks and to the rules that govern your benefits. And this is the part I really want you to pay attention to. There are 3 changes in 2026 that every Social Security recipient needs to understand. Let's go through them one by one. The first big change is the 2026 COLA, the Cost of Living Adjustment. Now, if you've been following Social Security news at all, you've probably heard about this. But let me put some real numbers on it, because I think a lot of people hear 2.8% and don't really know what that means for their actual check. The SSA announced a 2.8% COLA increase for 2026. That kicked in starting with the January 2026 payments. For the average retired worker, that translates to roughly an extra $56 per month. So if you were getting around $2,015 a month in 2025, your check jumped up to approximately $2,071 starting this January. And for married couples where both partners receive benefits, the average household increase is about $88 a month, bringing the combined check to around $3,208. Now I know what some of you are thinking. That's not a lot. And honestly, you're not wrong to feel that way. In an AARP survey conducted just before this COLA was announced, 77% of older Americans said that even a 3% increase wouldn't be enough to keep up with rising prices. And I understand that frustration completely. The cost of groceries, prescription medications, utilities, housing. All of that has gone up. A 2.8% boost sounds nice on paper, but in real life, it doesn't always feel like a raise. And here's something, this part is important, that a lot of people don't fully account for. If you're on Medicare, and most Social Security recipients are, there's a catch. The Medicare Part B premium increased in 2026. It went from $185 a month up to $202.90. That's a jump of almost $18. And here's the kicker. For most people, that Part B premium is automatically deducted from your Social Security check. So in reality, your net increase, the actual extra money you get to keep, is closer to $38 a month, not $56 once that Medicare deduction comes out. That's a significant difference, and it's something you absolutely need to factor into your budget. So the COLA is real, and it is money in your pocket, but it's not quite as big as the headline number suggests. Make sure you're looking at your actual direct deposit amount, not just the percentage you saw in the news. Now let's talk about the second big change. And this one is genuinely exciting for a specific group of Americans who have been fighting for this for decades. I'm talking about the Social Security Fairness Act. Here's what a lot of people don't realize. For years, there were two provisions buried inside the Social Security rules that quietly reduced or completely eliminated the Social Security benefits of millions of Americans who worked public sector jobs. Teachers, firefighters, police officers, federal government employees, people who paid into pension systems that weren't covered by Social Security payroll taxes. These two provisions were called the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, known as the GPO. And for decades, these rules cut into the retirement benefits of people who had genuinely earned them. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're a retired teacher in a state where teachers don't pay into Social Security through their school job. But maybe you also worked a summer job or a part-time job earlier in your life where you did pay Social Security taxes. Under the old rules, the WEP would have slashed your Social Security benefit from that outside work significantly. And if you were a surviving spouse trying to collect benefits on your late husband's or late wife's record, the GPO might have wiped out that spousal benefit entirely. It was devastating for a lot of families, and it affected more than 3 million people. Well, that all changed. In January 2025, President Biden signed the Social Security Fairness Act into law. And this is the largest legislative change to Social Security in decades. The Fairness Act eliminated both the WEP and the GPO permanently. As of early 2026, the Social Security Administration has already paid out $17 billion in retroactive payments to more than 3 million beneficiaries. For many of those retirees, that retroactive payment showed up as a lump sum direct deposit, sometimes without much advance warning, going all the way back to January 2024. Now, if you're a retired teacher, firefighter, police officer, or federal employee who received a public pension, and you've also worked jobs that paid into Social Security, you need to check whether you're owed money under this law. Some people have already received their payments, but not everyone has been made whole yet. If you think you might be affected and you haven't seen an increase in your monthly check or a retroactive lump sum payment, go to ssa.gov and look up the Social Security Fairness Act page, or call the SSA directly. Don't assume someone is going to automatically find you. You need to advocate for yourself here. And this part is important. If you're a widow or widower of someone who worked in public service, you may also be owed money under the GPO repeal. Surviving spouses were among the most harmed by the government pension offset, and some of those cases are still being processed. Don't leave that money on the table. All right, let's move to the third big change for 2026. And this one is a little different. This one is more of a heads up than a celebration, but it's still something every person approaching retirement needs to know. In 2026, the full retirement age, which is the age at which you can claim your full, unreduced Social Security benefit, has officially reached 67 years old for people born in 1960 or later. And that's a milestone worth understanding. For the past several decades, the full retirement age has been slowly creeping upward. It used to be 65 for everyone. Then Congress changed the rules back in 1983 and set it on a long, gradual path upward. In November 2026, that shift is complete. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is now 67, period. That's the new baseline. Why does this matter? Let's take a step back. If you claim Social Security early, meaning before your full retirement age, your monthly benefit is permanently reduced. The earlier you claim, the bigger the reduction. If you claim at 62, which is the earliest you can claim, your benefit could be reduced by as much as 30% compared to what you'd get at 67. 30% on a check you're going to be getting for the rest of your life. That is a very big deal. On the other hand, if you wait past your full retirement age and claim later, up to age 70, your benefit actually grows by 8% for every year you wait. So there's a real financial incentive to be patient if you can afford to be. I'll explain this in plain English. Think of it like a dial. Claim early and the dial turns left. Your monthly check is smaller, but you get more years of payments. Claim late and the dial turns right. Your monthly check is bigger, but you have fewer years to collect. The right choice depends entirely on your health, your other income sources, and your personal situation. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. But what I want you to walk away knowing is that in 2026, the full retirement age is now firmly at 67 for younger Americans, and every decision you make about when to claim will be measured against that number. Now, before I wrap up, I want to talk about something that happens every single time there's big Social Security news. And that's the scammers who swoop in to take advantage of people. Here's what happens. Whenever there's a news cycle about Social Security checks, payment date changes, or new laws like the Fairness Act, scammers use that as bait. You might get a phone call from someone claiming to be from the Social Security Administration, telling you there's a problem with your account or that you need to verify your information to receive your Fairness Act payment. You might get a text message with a suspicious link. You might even get a voicemail saying your Social Security number has been suspended. Stop. This is always a scam. The Social Security Administration will never call you out of the blue and ask for your Social Security number, your bank account information, or any personal details over the phone. They communicate primarily by mail. If you receive a suspicious call, hang up immediately. If you receive a suspicious link, do not click it. And if you want to check on the status of your actual payments or your benefit amount, go directly to ssa.gov. Type that address in yourself. Don't click links from emails or texts. Real information about your benefits is always available at ssa.gov. And you should absolutely set up a My Social Security account online if you haven't already. It's free, it's secure, and it lets you see your payment history, update your direct deposit information, verify your benefit amount, and get your annual COLA notice digitally instead of waiting for the mail. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself right now. And speaking of things you can do, let me give you a simple action list, because I know some of you are taking notes and I want to make this as practical as possible. First, know your June payment date. June 10th if you were born between the 1st and 10th. June 17th if you were born between the 11th and 20th. June 24th if you were born between the 21st and 31st. And June 3rd if you've been receiving benefits since before May 1997. Second, look at your actual check amount this month and compare it to last year. You should be seeing the 2.8% COLA increase. If your number doesn't look right, log into your My Social Security account or call the SSA. Third, if you are a retired teacher, firefighter, police officer, federal employee, or surviving spouse of one, and you think you might be affected by the Social Security Fairness Act, check your account. Go to ssa.gov, look up the Fairness Act page, and verify whether your retroactive payment has been issued. If you believe you're owed money and haven't received it, contact the SSA directly. Fourth, if you're not yet retired and you're approaching 62 or 67, have a real conversation, whether with a financial advisor, a trusted family member, or even just yourself, about when you plan to claim, because that decision is one of the most financially significant ones you'll make in your retirement years. And with the full retirement age now fully at 67, the numbers have shifted. And fifth, stay alert to scams. Be suspicious. Protect your information, and remind the people you love to do the same. Here's the bottom line. Social Security is one of the most important financial lifelines in this country, and for tens of millions of Americans, that monthly check isn't optional. It's the foundation of everything. So whether you're a retiree living entirely on your benefit, a person with disabilities who depends on SSDI or SSI, a surviving spouse, or someone who's still years away from claiming but watching closely, these changes matter to you. June 2026 is a month where a lot of pieces are moving at the same time. New payment dates, a COLA that's real but partially offset by Medicare costs, Fairness Act payments still working their way through the system, and a new full retirement age milestone that affects every American born in 1960 and beyond. Don't leave money on the table. Check your account. Verify your payment. Look into whether you're owed a retroactive lump sum under the Fairness Act. And if you found this video helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. A parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, a friend who's getting close to retirement. This is the kind of information that makes a real difference in people's lives, and most of it never gets explained in plain English. Stay informed, stay protected, and I'll see you in the next one. Script word count, approximately 2,500 words.